When people think of Reconstruction violence, they think of the Klan. But baby, it wasn't just them. There were whole armies of hate out here, and some of them are still around today. They just dress different. In basketball, they got the big three, the ones who dominate the game. Well, after the Civil War, America had its own big three. But this big three dominated through racism, terror, and murder. After the Civil War, black people gained rights, voting, land ownership, and political power. Reconstruction was supposed to be a good time, a fresh start for black Americans. But for a lot of folks who had built their lives and wealth on black oppression, it felt like a threat. And out of that fear came the big three: the KKK, hiding behind their white hoods, riding at night, burning crosses, lynching black families, all while pretending they were defending order; the White League, no mask, no shame, broad daylight terrorism, overthrowing governments, killing black leaders, especially right here in Louisiana; and the red shirts, loud and proud and bloody, wearing red to let you know that they were coming to intimidate black voters across the Carolinas and Mississippi. And sometimes you'd see a single purple shirt leading their parades just to make sure you couldn't miss them. And a lot of these groups, like the White League and the Red Shirts, didn't just pop up overnight. They had already been out here causing terror under different names, usually tied to the old Democratic Party at the time. What you're seeing in these years, the 1870s, is when they got more organized, more public, and more proud about what they were doing. So don't let anybody try to tell you they weren't active before then. They absolutely were. These were just the official banners. And don't get it twisted. The real terror wasn't just at night with masked riders. It was in the neighbors, the store owners, the pastors, the teachers. Everyday white citizens who turned murder into a public event. Flyers were printed, crowds came out, families brought picnic baskets to watch lynchings, postcards were made and mailed of black bodies hanging from trees like trophies, and law enforcement, most of the time, they either led the mob or stood right there watching. And these weren't just angry men with bad attitudes. These were organized armies storming courthouses, taking over city halls, and lynching black citizens, and faced almost no consequences. Meanwhile, when black activists organized for survival, not violence, survival, the government came after them with a vengeance. In 1985 in Philadelphia, city officials dropped a literal bomb on a full house of black activists from the MOVE organization, a group that wasn't killing anybody. 11 people were killed, including 5 children. Over 60 homes were destroyed, all because black folks tried to build a self-sustaining community outside the system. Make sure y'all go check out that video. And in Chicago, 1969, the FBI and police raided the home of Fred Hampton, a young Black Panther leader. He was only 21 years old. They drugged him so he couldn't wake up and shot him dead in his sleep. His crime? Feeding black children, educating black communities, building coalition. Even now, decades after his death, people still go to Fred Hampton's grave and shoot up his tombstone. That's not politics. That's pure generational hate. In 1970, right here in New Orleans, we had the Desire Project standoff. Black Panthers took a stand in the Desire housing projects. No shots were fired by the Panthers. They didn't even fire back. Yet police came in like they were invading a foreign enemy, ready to kill. Now keep that in mind. Black groups who weren't harming anyone were bombed, raided, and murdered, while white hate groups who killed thousands were allowed to march freely, organize rallies, and even hold public office. The courts and cops were never neutral. And let's be real, it's not because they couldn't do it, it's because they didn't want to. When black people rebelled, even while enslaved, they found ways to punish them immediately. Take the Creole slave revolt in 1841. A group of enslaved black people took over a slave ship fighting for their freedom. The U.S. charged them with mutiny, a crime punishable by death, because rising up against authority was something they refused to tolerate when it was black people. But when white mobs stormed government buildings, overthrew elected officials, assassinated black leaders, nobody called it mutiny. Nobody called it treason. They called it restoring order. They could have charged them. They should have charged them, but they chose not to. Because the courts, the police, and the government weren't there to protect us. They were there to protect them. And let's be clear, the big three didn't disappear after Reconstruction. They changed outfits. The Klan came back stronger than ever in the 1900s. The White League spirit lived on through Jim Crow laws, literacy tests, and poll taxes. The red shirts' voter intimidation tactics morphed into voter suppression laws today. Groups like the Sons of Confederate Veterans and the United Daughters of the Confederacy kept working behind the scenes, rewriting history, lobbying to protect Confederate statues, and showing up at every heritage rally. And they're still active today. Every time a Confederate statue gets threatened, every time a street named after a slave owner is challenged, they show up. Still proud of hate, still proud of losing, still refusing to let it go. And the truth is, they never stopped fighting against black progress. They just stopped wearing uniforms. And why this matters? Because every time they pass a law to restrict voting, every time they try to preserve heritage, every time they deny racism even exists, it's the same spirit, the same fight, same players, same playbook, new jerseys. Just like with the Wilmington coup we talked about before, just like with the destruction of Reconstruction, the goal has always been the same: to silence black power by any means necessary. So if your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be fighting so hard to steal it from you. They wouldn't be closing polling stations, purging voter rolls, or passing laws aimed right at black and brown voters. Voting isn't the end, it's the beginning. Vote, organize, and stay active. Make them come back to the table. Make them respect your voice. Because if we don't show up, they won't even bother pretending to earn it anymore. They never stop fighting to silence you. You can't stop fighting to be heard. And don't let them erase history, because if you forget the big three, you'll miss the fact that their descendants are still standing right in front of you today. Every time you like, share, and comment, you help keep these stories alive. Remember to subscribe for more stories that they won't put in your textbook. Peace.